Finance, Mr. Maurice Info, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Financial Services and Good Governance, Mr. Samad Jaman, Chief Executive Officer of Mauritius Finance, Mr. Chunia Badu, the Acting CEO of the Financial Services Institute, our guests, our graduates, our students, members of the audience, a very good morning to all of you. It's really nice to be here with you today, an event that was long overdue, I'm sure you will all agree, an event that was meant for February, but then again, the first quarter of 2023 has been quite hostile in terms of the weather and what Mauritius has experienced. Let's face it, whenever we have the weather advisory notices, it's very difficult for us to have such events, given that our audience is, the primary target is university graduates, and we are a training institution. We're prohibited to have those functions, and I think this has somewhat disrupted, the flow of things, and maybe that's why we've not had the numbers we're hoping to get to reach out, but we'll have more events during the year and hopefully seize those opportunities to speak to as many students and graduates over the course of the year. But thank you very much for being here. Today the plan is to talk about the Mauritius International Financial Centre. We're here to learn about the opportunities. Probably many of you are students, university graduates, you're probably thinking, why should I throw myself into a career in financial services? How rewarding is it? What do I stand to gain in a monetary sense? What do I stand to gain in a professional sense? What do I stand to gain in terms of exposure? So we'll be talking a lot about this. Starting with a bit of a delay, so I would like to hold back further. I'd like to call on stage Mr. Samad Jaman, the Chief Executive Officer of Mauritius Finance, for his welcoming remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Noshan. Unfortunately, I don't have any speech or opening remarks for you, but I think I will just brush a little bit about the sector itself and about Mauritius Finance. But we'll finish more importantly with a piece of advice, which what we've seen one trying to recruit in the sector, and also from speaking with our members in the industry. So Mauritius Finance, what is Mauritius Finance? It's the industry apex body that brings together all the operatives of the financial services sector, which includes the management companies, accounting firms, law firms, stock exchange, asset managers, fund managers, basically all licensees of the Financial Services Commission and the Bank of Mauritius. As it stands today, we have more than 155 members, which are all corporates employing professionals in the industry. Based on the last survey that we carried out at the beginning of the year, I can say today our membership base employs approximately more than 2/3 of professionals in the sector through our membership base. So the sector employs around 20,000 professionals today within the industry, which includes insurance, banking, management companies, accounting firms, law firms. Altogether, is approximately 20,000. And this figure goes up basically 5 to 8% every single year. Now, actually, with the issue of brain drain, and with more multinationals coming to set up in Mauritius, trying to support international offices, we've seen a rise in what we call the Global Shared Service Center. And the demand is so high that, based on the survey that we carried out last year, we're expecting approximately 1,500 openings in this sector over the next 12 to 18 months, out of which 50% is at the entry level, which can be graduates or school leavers. And when we talk about graduates, there's a misconception that people think only if you've done something in relation to finance that you can work in this sector. I can tell you clearly, at the level of Mauritius Finance itself, we have one of our colleagues which has studied towards Indian philosophy. She's been with us for 3 years, and she's been one of our best performing staff over the last 3 years. So basically, you don't need to actually do financial services to be able to work in this sector. However, if you've done something which is more relevant, it gives you the opportunity to work in a specific field, which allow you to progress over the years. And this is the reason of being here today, is to meet up with you who are joining at the beginning of your career. Some of you have decided what you study, which field, and where you get a job. So I think in the whole day you will have presentation from people in the sector, from FSI, and will tell you exactly what you need to do, where is exactly we have the demand. Two areas of focus where we've seen a lot of openings over the last couple of years. First of all is fund accounting and administration. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of this term before, but clearly you will get to know more during the day. I'll give you an example. If I have 300 experienced fund accountant or administrator today, I can place them in the industry within a week. So the demand is so high that we can't actually have enough people to place them. And many of those who are moving out of Mauritius to, let's say, Luxembourg, UK, Channel Island, Cayman, Malta, many of them are moving out within this field. And as we speak today, there's around 1,000 Mauritian professionals in Luxembourg alone. So why I'm telling all this is to tell you, give you an indication of where are the areas and how many people we need in the sector. One of the other key areas where we have a lot of requests is in compliance. Compliance services, whether it's officers, MLRO, deputy MLRO, all these is a huge demand, and the demand is not just for 1 or 2 years. With the changing regulatory landscape, locally and internationally, this will continue to increase over the forthcoming years. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, I can clearly tell you that this will be roles and areas where there will only be increased demand. So even if you start embarking on your study or studying today, coming out maybe a year, 2 or 3 years down the line, there will still be a demand in this sector. Coming back to what you study. Some of you would like to go to university, like many of you would like to experience the university life, which is good, which is great. But there are also professional qualifications out there which will get you an entry in the sector. Especially those of you who want to get an experience while studying at the same time. So if you're studying out these professional qualifications, you can do it part-time, but also work at the same time to get some experience, which will take you to the next level in the years to come. One of the issues we face today is when we ask people who come in for an interview to start a job, making an offer, I would say around 50% of them will turn down the offer and won't even come for interviews. So I'm not sure why that, but just to give you a piece of advice today, whatever qualification you have, whatever university you're coming from, the most important part of embarking on a career is experience. And experience is what will take you to the next level. Because whenever you're joining a company today, working in a field, you don't know whether this will take you to what you want to do in the future, because you might have some aspiration, but up until you embark in a career, start working in a place, this is where you will realize whether this place is for you or not. I'll give you an example. I've done more than 500 interviews, recruited more than 100 people in the past through my career. And I remember once I recruited a lady just because of the experience, having nothing to do with financial services. She was working for Princess Tuna and we were recruiting for financial services. Why we went all the way to recruit that person is because she was working with Princess Tuna and the working hours from about midnight to 6 a.m. So if the person can show that commitment to go work in a hostile place like Princess Tuna and studying during the day at university, you can imagine that person has motivation. And what will that person do if you give them the opportunity to work in a place which is much better and less hostile, but getting the opportunity to progress in the career? This person today, 5 years down the line, is working as a manager. Why? They have learned through the hard way and understand where they would be and had a career aspiration they wanted to achieve something. What's important is you need to have motivation. All of you need to know what is the motivation in you that will give you the drive to move to the next level. Today, when you make an offer and ask somebody to come and join with 10,000, 15,000, 18,000 rupees, most of you would say no. If you're not 25,000 rupees, I'm not interested. You better keep your job. Likewise, some parents will come and say, we don't have any parents in the room today. You stay at home, I can give you more than that. But what's more important is to get on the career ladder. Whatever experience you get, whatever opportunity you have to take it. I'll give you a live example. I started my career 23 years ago, back in the year 2000. At that point in time, I had an offer of 6,500 rupees, including traveling. And you will tell me 23 years ago, 3,500 rupees was worth a lot more. But I do that in comparison. At that point in time, I was living in the east, having to come to office every single day. My transport itself would have cost me 2,500 rupees a month. But I still remember what my dad told me at that point in time. I was helping him in his business. He would have asked me to stay at home and give you 4, 5 more than times what you're getting right now. But he said to me, even if they're not paying you, go and get the experience, get the exposure. But I refused that offer 23 years ago. I would have not been here today. So I think the most important part for everybody is to get to the career ladder. Whatever opportunity you get, just grasp it. Salary should be secondary for you when you're starting your career. Because from there on, once you've embarked on a career, this will take you, sky's the limit. In this sector, there is no limit of what you can earn. It all depends on your own ability, what you can contribute, what you can bring to the industry, what you can bring to the organization. And this industry has got meritocracy. So if you perform, you will get in return what you deserve. And also this sector, we talk about parity in women. One piece of the statistics I will give you. This sector, we employ 60% women compared to men. And now we're also getting this going through at the higher end. But the second in command within many organizations are women. 2, 3 years down the line or 5 years down the line, we'll see more women at the top compared to men in the financial services sector. So my advice to you is get the exposure you need. Salary will come eventually, and you will be surprised because once you start in this sector, I can tell you, it's already starting today at 15, 18, 20,000 rupees. With the right exposure, with the right qualification, 5 years down the line, you will be talking a minimum of 50, 60,000 rupees. Now, once you get the 5 years experience, it's not only Mauritius, it's a world that's open to you. Whether it's any other countries around the world or recruiting any IFCs, you will get your opportunity to move out. We've seen people moving out, but they're also coming back. However, those who have 7 or 8 years experience, they're not moving out. The reason for that is because they're earning enough here, which is not worth it for them to leave the country and work elsewhere. So I come back once again, make the most, any opportunity, whatever least it is, you have to get on the career ladder. Whatever exposure you get today will give you some experience to move and to shape your future. I'll finish with a quote. The initial is always the hardest, but that doesn't mean that you have to stop. Keep trying, we're here to help you. I don't think when we started our career back in the old days, there were people who come and tell us what to study or where to start. So the whole day today you will hear from people, you will get an indication of the different opportunities in the sector. Make up your mind. If you need to speak to someone, I think the team from the FSI is here. My team also is here, and feel free to reach out any point in time. Thank you once again for your time.
Mr. Officer, Permanent Secretary of my Ministry, Mr. Samad Jaman, the Chief Executive Officer of Mauritius Finance, Mr. Lakshmi Badu, the Acting CEO of the FSI, Financial Services Institute, young friends and educators, friends of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. Dear friends, the old saying goes, if you want to look ahead, the best way is to look at the younger generation. From this perspective, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you to this awareness event, and thank you for joining us. I'm indeed comforted to see so many of you present here from the four quarters of Mauritius, which demonstrates a keen interest for a future in the financial services sector. As Minister of Financial Services and Good Governance, your presence this morning makes me proud, and I'm happy to share our plans for you. The Mauritius International Financial Centre is a growing and dynamic industry, establishing itself as a financial hub for the African region and attracting international businesses and investors. It is today an important contributor to economic development and resilient in challenging times such as COVID, when traditional sectors were down on their knees. The significant growth of this sector is creating many job opportunities. We realize that this is a new industry, and we are here to shed light on what it is and how you can be part of this new engine of growth. We used to be taught that the world turns on its axis. As digital natives, the way you know today's world is that it runs on the internet. This is your home turf. With the advent of the fourth industrial revolution, the world of work is in a state of flux, in constant mutation as never before. There can be no better than the millennials born in the digital age to understand how disruptive technology is changing, what the definition of a job is, where and how it is performed. When I was your age, what matters was for us to get good grades, get a good qualification, and get into a job that would give us tenure and pension. Moving jobs was a sign of insecurity. Parental aspirations would want us to be a lawyer, doctor, or accountant. Don't get me wrong. The country will always need these professions. The question is how many lawyers, accountants, and doctors can the labor market absorb? If we continue in this market, in this mindset rather, we will have more job seekers than job creators. So you're right, you have come here today. Listen to us. New trends are redefining our perception of a job. The jobs of today and tomorrow will be very different. So we need to think different. The presence at highest level of the public and private sector today is to tell you that the MIFC offers tremendous opportunities for the youth. It proposes quality jobs and offers you the opportunities of decent livelihoods. It is already the case that many youngsters and millennials who seek to enjoy job security, high-paying salaries, and flexible work engagements pursue careers in finance. The financial industry has so much to offer to ambitious young professionals. We recently conducted a survey among employees in the sector, as was mentioned by Samad, and we came to gauge how brimming the sector is with opportunities. From international finance, auditing, accounting, compliance, and so many other niche areas, there is an abundance of prospects. Emerging areas such as fintech and ESG are also creating attractive opportunities for career growth and advancement. The priority of my ministry is to improve and facilitate access pathways into the financial services industry and facilitate the transition from education to the job market. It involves ensuring that within weeks of leaving formal education, those interested to join our sector can aspire to a good job, an internship, or the chance to continue their education. Our mission is to create more awareness and understanding around MIFC and career pathways. Our representatives will be speaking to you today in more detail. Like you heard, Samad is speaking on those openings and also with such inspiring and motivational words that he used. So I'm sure the session for today is going to be much encouraging for you all. The ministry, through its various departments and institutions, has entered in close partnership with the private sector to increase the number and improve the quality of job offers and traineeship opportunities, to facilitate access to training and employment opportunities, to provide career guidance and literacy sessions, and to ensure that qualified and competent young people are provided opportunities for further development and growth through specialized trainings such as financial crime compliance and fund accounting. Dear friends, to support you in making a smart move ahead, I'm happy to announce that the Financial Services Fund, operating as part of the Financial Services Commission, in collaboration with the Mauritius Finance and the Insurers Association of Mauritius, will also be organizing a 2-day career fair and recruitment drive in June. This event will bring in key representatives on the sector under the same roof and will comprise a recruitment drive with possibility of the on-the-spot opportunities, a training alley, and a hackathon. Through the ministry's training arm, the Financial Services Institute, we are offering free career employability programs to help facilitate your entry in the world of work. I think I've talked enough, so I won't take much of your time and leave the floor to Naushad, who will walk you through the details I shared with you. Dear friends, government has made youth, jobs, and growth our top priority. We are committed to providing our nation's young people with the skills, livelihoods, and comfort they need and deserve. You are the future and the building blocks of our country's continued growth and success. We are here for you so that you can be there for the next generation. So with these words, I thank you again for your attention, for your presence, and I'm sure you're going to stay for the whole session and hear as much information from our speakers and try to be as much interactive with them so that you can go home and be more aware of what this industry can offer. So with these words again, I thank you for being here and wish you all the best. Thanks so much.
About the financial services sector, we talk about an international financial centre. Now, many of you are school leavers, many of you are university students. You're probably going to think, well, what do you mean by an international financial centre? Let's think about that. It's very easy for us to come and tell you, hey, you should come and work in our international financial centre. It's really nice, you can be given great opportunities. Let's try and find out why we call it an international financial centre. What really makes the need for financial services? You have to think about, we've heard about banking, we've heard about financial services. There comes a time where you have to think, well, if I was seeking, for example, a loan and I was trying to reach out to a person or a company that didn't have that right authorization or permission to carry out this activity, it would be a non-regulated environment. And that non-regulated environment would also mean that they wouldn't be done in some nice and orderly conduct. Now, the reason that we have authority, the reason that we have government, we have our policymakers coming forward to set up a legal system is for things to be done right. And when they are done right, they give us the right reputation alongside, and that brings success. So the reason why we need authorities, licenses, authorizations is for us to have a very nice and conducive system. Now, to build on from there, you would tend to think, well, let's think what truly makes a financial center, right? What makes a financial center, and where would I be able to find opportunities in terms of a career? Who would I be interacting with as part of the process? Well, you have to think about the financial center makes up of, our legal system, legislation that makes up the structure. We've got obviously our policymakers. Our policymakers, when it comes to financial services, the Ministry of Financial Services and Good Governance. We've also got other ministries working together, bringing enactments to the National Assembly. The National Assembly working together to really come up with a nice and innovative legal framework. We've got our regulators, obviously the Financial Services Commission, the Bank of Mauritius, really giving you authorizations, right? Those permissions that you need to be able to carry out those financial business activities. Why do we need regulators? We need regulators because they would be able to intervene in case there was any unfair business or market conduct. Why? If something goes wrong, you would want someone to intervene. You would look up to a higher authority to come and bring in some order into whatever went wrong, or at least to investigate. Of course, you've got the market players, what we call licensees. They've got permissions and authorizations from the regulators, and from there, they are able to provide services to Mauritians and the rest of the world, provide financial services to make sure that things are done right, things are done professionally, and in a nice and competitive way. Because we have to think, when it comes to financial services, any good or service, let's just detach ourselves from financial services. If you're looking to buy a shirt, if you're looking to buy a mic, if you're looking to buy a chair, there needs to be a bit of a demand for it. And obviously, wherever there's demand, there's opportunities for the suppliers, for those who provide the services to explore. And this is what brings economic activity. And the goods and services we're talking about here is financial services. Cross-border, top-quality financial services as we offer from our International Financial Centre right here in Mauritius. So, our licensees is very well represented today. Mr. Samad Jahan was here to speak. He's part of the Industry Association, Mauritius Finance, representing and regrouping a lot of the licensees. What I mean by infrastructure and connectivity, is because, as you can see, Mauritius has done quite well for itself. We've got a lot of airlines coming, we've got some great business parks, we've got the metro nowadays that connects a lot of the key business areas of Mauritius. All things considered, you need those nice and plush flush offices to really encourage people to set up, international branches in our country, and obviously bringing all of these business environment conditions together is what will really attract players to our country. Other service providers, you have to think, yes, you could be setting up a very nice office. When you're setting up a very nice office, it's also drawing a lot of economic activity when it comes to providing job opportunities, people helping in administration, reception, drivers, electricians, plumbers, constructors. There's the indirect contribution to the economy. And most important one, why we're here today, the labour force. The labour force is why we're here, why we're coming to learn more about the Mauritius International Financial Centre. Mr. Samad Jamal really told you what is the demand that we have to try and cope with the growth that our financial centre is experiencing today. And how far have we come? Well, it's been 30 years. It's been 30 years, it's not yesterday. It's already been 3 decades, and over the course of the 3 decades, we started from scratch as a country. We started from scratch, and we've come up to 8,000 plus employees getting direct employment within the financial centre that we have back home. Now, you could be a part of this financial centre, and we want you to be a part of this financial centre, and this is why we'd like to tell you more about those career opportunities. What are those professions that you could be seeking, or if you're looking for even a career transition while you're within the financial centre, what you could be jumping to. And just to let you know, in terms of authorizations that our regulators have given to companies, we have more than 12,000 companies in Mauritius that have been given the permissions and authorizations to carry out those activities in Mauritius. Now, I thought today, well, we could come and tell you to come to the Mauritius International Financial Centre. I'm just going to take a few moments to thank the Honourable Minister, Mr. Maurice Info, for your presence. And you've got some very important commitments, and